So what is teaching, really? I mean, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a question that, well, it sounds super simple, right? But the truth is, it's absolutely packed with misconceptions, debates, and a ton of surprising complexity.
Yeah, seriously. Think about it for a second. When I say the word teacher, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it someone from your childhood? A college professor, maybe? We all have this instant mental picture, shaped by all those years we spent as students.
And a lot of the time, the picture we have is this one. It's a really noble, powerful idea, isn't it? The teaching is the foundational profession, the one that makes every other career possible. And yeah, we see slogans like this all the time.
But then, you get this. Almost in the same breath, you hear this other kind of harsh and totally contradictory view. This prejudice that teaching is just, I don't know, a fallback plan? A career for people who couldn't cut it somewhere else? So, which is it? The noblest profession or the backup plan?
This conflict, this contradiction, that's exactly where we have to start. Because if we really want to understand what teaching is, we've got to first sort through all the myths, the slogans, and the deep-seated biases that are all tangled up around it.
And wow, the list of these biases is pretty long, and honestly, not very flattering. You've heard them, right? That it has low social status, that it's not financially rewarding, or that it's just a stepping stone to a real job. Or, get this, it's just an extension of motherhood or something for older folks to do. All this confusion is a massive part of the problem.
All right, so to get to the real heart of what teaching is, we have to tear down this really old, really persistent model. The idea that a teacher is just a talking head at the front of the room.
You've probably heard of this, even if you don't know the name. It's called the jug and mug approach. And for most of the 20th century, this was pretty much the way people thought about it. The teacher is the jug, you see, totally full of knowledge, and the students, they're just empty mugs, sitting there, passively waiting for that knowledge to be poured into them.
But here's the thing, that's just not how it works. The crucial point is that we now know, for sure, that effective teaching isn't just telling. Learning is not a passive thing at all. It's an active process of trying to make sense of everything. And that brings us to the modern way of thinking, which is known as the constructivist approach. Now, in this model, the teacher isn't a jug anymore. They're more like a guide. Their job is to facilitate learning, to help students actively build or, construct their own understanding by connecting new information to stuff they already know.
Okay, so building on that idea, let's zoom in and get a little more precise. Now that we know teaching is more about being a guide, we need to talk about a really key professional distinction, the difference between teaching and instructing. Yes, they are different.
Okay, so think of it like this. Instruction, that's like a signpost. It just gives you clear directions on what to do and how to do it. It's a part of teaching for sure. But teaching itself, that's more like growing a garden. It's this much bigger, more complex process of nurturing a student's overall growth and development.
This table here really lays it all out. Look at instruction. It's not super complex, and it usually just focuses on the cognitive domain. The facts, the knowledge, the understanding. But then you look at teaching. Whoa, it's way more complex. It's all about the overall development of a person across all three domains. Cognitive, yes, but also affective. That's feelings, attitudes, and psychomotor, which is all about physical skills.
All right, so we've established that teaching is this big, complex, holistic thing. But it's definitely not one size fits all. I mean, a huge factor in how you teach is who you're teaching. And teaching kids is fundamentally different from teaching adults.
And yeah, there are actually specific terms for this. You've got pedagogy, which literally means to guide a child, and that's all about the methods for teaching kids. And then you have andragogy, which is about the unique ways you go about teaching adults.
And the differences really pop when you look at what drives the learner. With kids, pedagogy, the motivation is often external, right? Grades, rewards, avoiding punishment. They're pretty dependent on the teacher to tell them what to learn. But with adults, andragogy, it's a whole different ballgame. The learner is way more independent. And the motivation? It's internal. It comes from their own curiosity, their own needs. They want to learn stuff that can immediately apply to their lives and their problems.
So now that we've peeled back all these layers, we've come to the big one, the classic debate that kind of ties all of this together. Is teaching an art, or is it a science? Or let me put it another way. Are great teachers just born that way with some natural talent, or are they made through training, practice, and learning specific techniques?
Well, the case for teaching being an art is pretty strong. I mean, we've all met someone who's just a natural teacher, right? Even with zero formal training. Their magic comes from their personality, their creativity, this intuitive knack for connecting with people. It's almost like a performance, a craft that they get better at just by doing it.
But then, on the other hand, the case for it being a science is just as compelling. This view says, hey, teaching is a profession built on a solid body of knowledge. It uses scientific research, psychology, and specific skills you can actually learn, like classroom management and how to design a curriculum. It's a real field with principles you can study and apply.
So what's the answer? Well, the thing is, it's a false choice. You don't have to pick one. A truly great teacher isn't one or the other. They are absolutely both. They're a scientist when they prepare, using proven methods and all that deep knowledge. But they're an artist when they walk into that room, using creativity, personality, and intuition to make it all come alive. And that brings us to this final thought from Lee Iacocca, and it's a powerful one. When you really stop and think about the sheer complexity of it all, this incredible, demanding mix of art and science, of psychology and performance, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe, just maybe, our most common views about teaching have got it completely backwards.